The beginning.
England has had its borders and culture formed through centuries of invasions and conquests. The three earliest invasions that resulted in the permanent settlement and cultural development were those of the Roman Empire, Anglo-Saxons, and the Normans. The Romans conquered England in the 1st century and held it until the 5th. After nearly 2 centuries of chaos, the Anglo-Saxons conquered England in 655, and for the first time in English history, the people of England were ruled by a monarchy. The third major ruler of England, the Normans, defeated the Saxons in 1066. These three cultures combined left lasting cultural elements in England. The Romans instilled a deep tradition of Christianity, while the Anglo-Saxons planted the seeds of the great English monarchy. All three contributed to the development of Old English, which evolved into modern-day English. Famous political leaders. England's two most famous political leaders are Henry VIII and Winston Churchill. Henry VIII is famous for, among other things, having 6 wives. However, more importantly, he separated England from the Catholic Church to start his own denomination of Christianity. Winston Churchill was in World War I and World War II. Although he played but a small part in World War I, he played a massive part in World War II. He was the Prime Minister of England, and along with rallying his people, he also worked towards in-war and post-war peace efforts, as well as warning the United States about many dangers such as the Soviet threat. Famous military leaders. England's two most famous military leaders are Henry V and Oliver Cromwell. Henry V, 1386 to 1422, was the King of England from 1413 to 1422. He acquired much military experience while fighting lords who had rebelled against his father, Henry IV. After his father's passing, Henry quickly garnered rule of the country and initiated a war with France. Much land that Henry conquered is still part of England today. Oliver Cromwell, 1599 to 1658, was an English military leader. He became Lord Protector of the Commonwealth of England, Ireland, and Scotland. He also played a primary part in the parliamentarians' defeat of the Royalists in 1651. Civil Wars of England. England has taken part in 13 wars that can be classified as civil, the first being the Anarchy in 1135, and the most recent being the Glorious Revolution in 1688. Possibly the most famous civil war is the English Civil War, which took place from 1642 to 51. In this civil war, supporters of King Charles, royalists, fought against supporters of the Long Parliament, parliamentarians. The map below shows the royalists' continued loss of support and power from 1642 to 1645. The Parliament came out victorious after the Battle of Worcester in 1651. Famous geographical thingies. England has many famous geographical features, including Stonehenge, the River Thames, the English Channel, and the Lakes District. Stonehenge is more than 5,000 years old and was built during the Stone Age. We know this because scientists have used carbon dating on samples found around it. The River Thames flows through London and is the second longest river in England at 346 kilometers or 215 miles. The English Channel was formed over 10,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age. In 43 CE, the Romans crossed it to reach England. Nowadays, people still cross it, just for more recreational purposes. The Lakes District is a gorgeous 33 by 40 mile national park in England. It is home to 2 of the tallest mountains in England. Skyfall at 978 meters or 3,210 feet and Helvellyn at 950 meters and 3,114 feet. Architectural features, specifically Gothic cathedrals. Arguably the most recognizable architectural features in England are the many Gothic cathedrals. Gothic cathedrals are classified by characteristics such as flying buttress, copious amounts of stained glass windows, vast amounts of statuary, and many vaulted roofs. One of the oldest and most famous cathedrals in England is the Lincoln Cathedral, which was built in 1280. Demographics. England is almost split down the middle gender-wise until the age of about 50. From then, there are more women than men. Population is slightly well spread out, with only London and two other places exceeding a population of 2 million. The prominent religion in England is Christianity, with 59% of the population following it. The next biggest, with 25% of the population, is no religion. Timeline of technological advances in England. 1687, Sir Isaac Newton composes Principia, foundation for modern science. 1708, Jethro Tull's mechanical seat sower helps spark England's agricultural revolution. 1775, James Watt invents first efficient steam engine. 1796, Edward Jenner develops smallpox vaccine. 1801, Robert Trevithick creates first steam locomotive. 1830, Manchester-Liverpool Railway begins first regular commercial rail service. 1859, Charles Darwin writes The Origin of the Species. 1884, Sir Hiram Stevens Maxim invents the machine gun. 1906, Joseph Thomson discovers electrons and isotopes. 1919, London to Paris air service begins. 1994, Channel Tunnel was built. Additional information, aka fun facts. Windsor Castle is the oldest and largest royal residence in the world still in use. London is the world's largest financial center. Lincoln Cathedral, built in 1280, was the tallest man-made monument in the world until 1884. An Englishman drinks more tea than any person of any other nation. Beef is one of England's biggest exports. A law says that any boy under the age of 10 may not see a naked mannequin. The treasures contained in the British Museum span 2 million years of world civilizations. Police do not carry guns except in emergencies. During medieval ages, animals could be put on court for bad deeds they got into. In Chester, you can only shoot a Welsh person with a bow and arrow outside the city walls and after midnight. England has produced some of the world's most famous minds and political figures, such as William Shakespeare, Isaac Newton, Queen Victoria, and of course, Patrick Riggs.